Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your girl Mitzi, and this is Mitzi. Let's think about it. Today we are thinking about a cup of tea on the commode. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, what a thinker. So luckily I have Mark here who's going to really help us think about this in a whole new way. So thank you so much, Mark, for coming on to my show, sharing your time and your perspective with me. I truly appreciate this. Let's just dive right in, right? What does a cup of tea on the commode make you think about?
Well, certainly about my mother. Her favorite beverage was a cup of hot tea, skim milk, no sugar. And, it's funny. Actually, when she was pregnant with me, she gave up coffee. She was a coffee drinker before that. So I have to take some of the blame for the hit in the coffee market. So I've been drinking a lot of coffee ever since to make up for it. But she switched to tea and never went back. So she was a tea drinker from then on. And then the subject of the book is caregiving for my mom for her last years. And we came up with a bunch of rituals. Being a son, I took a little different take, I think, from other people caring for their aging parent. And so one day on the commode, unfortunately, Mother Nature sometimes took a little longer than was comfortable for either one of us. So, kind of as a joke, I said, "Hey, would you like a cup of tea while we're waiting?" And she said yes. And so I gave her a cup of tea, and it was a hit. So that became one of our morning rituals, and a cup of tea on the commode. So as I was writing the book, that just kind of popped up, and I said, "Well, that's kind of a catchy title, so let's go with
Yeah,
it."
I like that title. To be honest, when I was reading a little bit about the book and I was reading about you more, it was really interesting to see that this is the direction that you wanted to go in. You know what I mean? You could have chose any type of title and you could have wrote your book any type of way, but you wrote your book in a very specific way. You know what I mean? Like your chapters are very short and they're very straight into the point and they really give you an idea of your mother, of yourself, of everything, that you've been through. So I guess it leads me to my next question. Why did you decide to write in that style to write your book?
Well, both of my parents were pretty funny people, and luckily they passed on some of that to their kids. I have five siblings, and all of us are a little wacky in our own way. And when I originally took this caregiving on, I asked my mother for permission. And when she said she trusted me and my siblings also trusted me, I said, okay, first thing you need to know is we're going to have fun. And we did. So that was a goal in mind for me, was to make her laugh at least once a day. And she ended up making me laugh quite a bit. So if you go in with that kind of mindset, because it's very stressful mentally, physically, and emotionally, but if you look for the humor in it, and also one of my mottos is find the joy. If you look for the
Yeah.
joy, it takes a lot of the pressure off.
Oh, it really does. It really does. Because I was a caregiver. I had my CNA license, so I was a caregiver for almost like 10, 11 years, helping in different avenues, home care, assisted livings, you know what I mean? Even personal and things like that. So I do understand like when you make the best out of it and you find the joy in the day and you lighten up their days, it truly does make a difference because you know what I mean? A lot goes into it, like the daily routines, just the personal care, like so how did you still provide your mother that respect when it came to like the personal care?
Well, I think I had a pretty unique relationship with both of my folks. I'm the fifth out of the six. I'm the third son, and I have one younger sister. And so I grew up with, two older brothers, two older sisters. I learned how to care for women and have respect for women, other than putting the toilet seat down. And both of my parents really were great about leading by example. We watched them do the right thing. My dad
That's
was always a
nice.
gentleman, opened the door for the ladies, always stood up when a lady entered the room, which is something, people don't do very much at all. The door thing I still see, and I coach people to do that, but I stand up when a lady enters the room. I think it's all very nice and respectful. But I was also a very curious kid. And so I got my parents, they were from that generation that they didn't open up about their emotions and pain and their personal life very much. And
Yeah.
I got them both to open up, even as a young kid. But then I was acting for years. And so would come visit me in Hollywood, and I would have them one-on-one away from the house. And it was a great opportunity for them to open up. And they
Yeah.
did. It took, quite a lot of probing sometimes, but I got them both to open up. So I know they both really trusted me, and they became more friends. When you get to a certain
Mm.
point where you're both adults and you get to open up, you get to appreciate them, not just as a mom or a dad, but as a person.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I was very fortunate.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing to be able to say that you were able to allow your parents to be comfortable in their own skin, that they were deciding to open up to you about their past and their own thoughts. Because I know I read in your book how her uncle died and of suicide and how that was really hard on her. You know what I mean? Oh, I couldn't even imagine just her just processing that all by herself and then being able to just be open to you and allow you into her mind. I mean, that is a true honor. But I guess my question is, why did you step up to care for to care for your parents when you have other siblings?
Um, Well, they all helped. Everybody helped in their own way. And I think it was the timing and the opportunity. At that time, I was in my mid 50s and I was in California. So my acting career was kind of on the wane. I wasn't a big star, so that was slowing up. I did have a snack food business, which was almost a 24/7 business. But my brother and I started that about 12 years earlier to honor my dad. It was his snack food that he invented, and
Mhm.
he never got an opportunity to take it to the market. And so I set a goal that I was going to do that, and we got into the market a year after he passed, unfortunately. So he didn't get to see it
Mhm.
on the shelves, but we built it into a national brand. So that was my main focus at the time. But that also was starting to slow up. We just lost our national distribution and our national sales managers. And so I think it's interesting. So when I've been thinking about this and writing the book and doing the interviews, when you make a decision that seems to be the right one, the universe seems to support it. So all these factors seem to come in and say, okay, this is the right thing to do. Because I knew it was the right thing to do. And so I made it happen. And luckily, a lot of other factors came into play where it made it much easier. And so once I got her permission, I moved back. I didn't take over the 24/7 right away. I was there kind of as a supervisor because we had some people in place. But I didn't feel they were very good. So I watched for a while, and then we tried to hire people on our own full time. But in between, I took care of her and learned when we first got there, when this first incident happened, she was on her deathbed and hospice was called. And so my younger sister and I hung out with hospice, and we wanted to learn as much as we could because we wanted to take care of our mother as much as we could for as long as she wanted to be here. And fortunately, after a number of weeks, she snapped out of it. And so I kind of learned from the pros what to do and how to take care of her. And then I had to go back to LA for business. And then I came back. And when I came back, the situation that kind of led her to kind of want to leave this world months earlier was still there. And so then I knew I had to play a bigger part. And so then I jumped in. And when I jumped in, my siblings all trusted me. Once I had my mother's permission, that certainly helped. So that was good because at that point I was a carefree bachelor, no children, never married, and
Yeah.
so my first kid was my 89-year-old mother.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So I guess what is the most rewarding experience that you can remember to this day of being there for your mother?
All of it.
Yeah, I
Knowing
love
that,
that.
I mean, even during the stressful times, sometimes it's your kid, right? But sometimes you want to kill them, because my mother she was very independent and very stubborn, and she was suffering from some dementia at the time. And she could be a tough cookie. So I know the previous people that we hired had some issues with her because I said, and I say in the book, she had a very accurate BS detector. So if that thing redlined, it was really tough getting her confidence back. And
Yeah, I don't blame
so
her.
I knew how to deal with her, growing up with her. So sometimes it was two stubborn minds battling. And at that point, I was stronger and taller and I could take care of her. Um, but
Yeah.
it was really nice. And again, I said I wanted to make it fun, and I wanted to bring dignity back to her because I felt it was whittled away over the few years with the other people supervising her care. And there were little and being a son, I think I took a different approach, maybe a more romantic approach. So the first thing I wanted to do, because she looked like a little old lady dressed with these drab night dresses, and her hair wasn't really taken care of, and she had beautiful nails. So those are the only things that were still done. She had a nice long, beautiful, natural nails, but no lipstick and anything like that. So the first thing I did is I bought her a new wardrobe. And
Hmm.
if you want to cheer anybody up at any age,
Yeah.
any gender, a new wardrobe will kind of do that. And then I created a thing called Day of Beauty because she had six children, but she worked full time after my little sister came along, and she was a proofreader for the largest newspaper in Jersey, and my dad was also the full time chemist. But she treated herself once a week to a trip to the beauty parlor for a shampoo and set, and had her nails done. And I don't know when the last time she was at a beauty parlor. When she would visit me in LA, I would take her to my friend Stan's place in Beverly Hills. And she got the movie star treatment there. And I knew she loved that. And again, I wasn't sure how many years it's been, but I said, you know what? We're gonna start. I called it Day of Beauty, and I'm bringing the
Yeah.
salon experience to home. And I
Oh,
did all these special events once a week. Originally, we had it on Sunday, but she was a good Catholic girl, and she said,
yeah.
"Nope, got to move it." So
Yeah.
yeah, we avoided a sure trip to hell, I think. So it was on Saturday, and so normally I gave her two sponge baths in the morning and the evening. And on Day of Beauty, I while she was sitting on the commode, I soaked her feet in Epsom salts. I shampooed her hair, sometimes conditioned. And when she was done there, I gave her a full body massage, and she got a new diaper and her new wardrobe. She picked out what she wanted to wear each day. And then I blow dried her hair. At this point, she had very long, beautiful white hair again.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen that in years because it was usually a perm and a set.
Oh,
So it was these
wow.
curly things. She had a Bichon frisé. And so they had matching hair almost. It was really funny. So now she had this beautiful long mane of white hair. And so I blow
Yeah.
dried her hair and put it in a ponytail, or sometimes for bonus points, I said I braided it. And
Oh,
um, and then I did her nails. She was those things were like the crown jewels. I had to be very careful with those. So
yeah.
once I finished her nails, I gave her some lipstick, bright red, to match her bright red nails. And I didn't think that much of it. I thought, oh, this is a nice gesture. So I put her in the wheelchair, and I'm wheeling her into the kitchen for breakfast. And we
Yeah.
passed a big mirror in the dining room. And
Yeah.
I parked her in front of that mirror, and she was just like gaga. And I
Oh,
leaned in and I said, "Who is that pretty girl?" And she just beamed. And I realized what a powerful little thing. For me, it was a small gesture. For her, it was huge.
oh, it
And I
is.
realized that women do not want, they want to feel pretty. It doesn't fade with age. So no
It
matter what
doesn't.
age, they want to feel beautiful and look beautiful and know that people know this. So every morning I parked her in front of that mirror and said the same thing. Who is that pretty girl?
Oh, that is such a beautiful notion. Oh my God. I love
It
you
was
for
lovely.
for
And it
doing
was
that.
infectious because everybody who was around her felt that she felt pretty and had this
Absolutely.
confidence. Lovely.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Because I remember taking care of a patient where she did not leave her room without some makeup on or without her hair done or without just new fresh clothes on. And I was okay with it. You know what I mean? I was like, if this is what makes you feel better, then I'm gonna
Yeah,
do it for you because you deserve to feel this again. You know what I mean? I don't care if
absolutely.
you're 90 and people are just waiting for you to croak and die. Like you deserve to feel this because I agree. Every woman, no matter what age you get, you just want to know inside that you are still beautiful in some way, shape, or form, that you can see that beauty. You know what I mean? So the fact that you did that in just the smallest of manner of ways, that you took the time for her to feel that self-care and that self-love. Oh my goodness, that's real love right there. That's real
Yeah.
appreciation because man, that lady when she passed away, oh my goodness, everybody was torn. Everybody was upset and everybody was so sad. And there was even sometimes staff would we would put lipstick on for her out of respect respect and and bring everybody out to the dining room just in remembrance of her because she was you remember somebody like that. You know what I mean? It holds
Yeah.
value. You know what I mean? So I think that's a beautiful thing that you kept with your mother. Oh my goodness. So I guess
You
what is
know,
like, go ahead.
can I say, oh, it goes for men as well, because 2 days before
Absolutely.
my dad passed, he was always clean shaven and always had his hair combed. He had a comb like in his wallet, and
Mm,
he didn't look great because he's going. And
yeah.
he was a very strict Catholic, and I know that he wanted to meet Jesus and look the best he could. So my sister and I gave him a clean shave, and we
Oh,
combed his hair,
oh.
and I knew that made him feel better because he was going to meet Jesus the way he wanted to meet Jesus. And so it
Yeah.
goes for men and women. And it was, again, a little thing that we didn't think that much of until you see the reaction on your loved one. It's very, very
Oh,
cool.
it is. It really brings this type of joy and peace inside where you don't even realize it mattered until like, oh wow, this has so much value and holds so much for that person. I mean, it makes you really reflect on yourself. Like, how can I bring that to myself? You know what I mean? So, I guess to lead to my next question is, if a child is in this predicament, contemplating being a caregiver for their parent, what is some advice that you can give them?
Well, I'd say that the main thing is, and this comes from my experience too, is if you are not comfortable doing it, find someone who is. You can still show your love and your respect and show them dignity by being there and letting them
Yeah.
know that you care and your presence is more important. But if you are uncomfortable doing any aspect of this, they will pick up on that and then they'll feel guilty that they put you in this
Mm,
situation and you don't want them to do that. Luckily, I was trained as a designer and then also as an actor. I spent 28 years in Hollywood. So the designer and the actor and I guess being able to think and stuff on my feet made me very comfortable because I said, oh, this is the role I'm playing. I'm now the caregiver. I'm still the son. She's still my mother, but I'm the caregiver. So seeing your mother naked for the first time when she's 89 is kind of a shock. And you see what the years have done to her and all the scars from various surgeries and injuries and things like that. And so I didn't want her to feel my uncomfortableness. So it was like I said, I am now the actor playing a
yeah.
caregiver, and that's what I got to do. And so
Yeah.
again, humor really helped with that as well. So if I was ever really uncomfortable, that maybe a joke or
Yeah.
certainly some dark humor and stuff. But I didn't want my mother to feel that she was a burden. And she even asked me
Yeah.
later on that our adventures, I call it our adventures, took it was the 3.5 years that I cover in the book. And probably into the second year or so, we had a really rough day for both of us. And I didn't get mad. I got mad a few times, but not on this particular day. And I was putting in her bed and she looked at me. She said, "Why are you doing this?" And it really stopped me,
Yeah.
because it was like 2 years of love, love, love. And now she's like, what are you doing? Why? You got something better to do. And I said, no, no. I said, it's an honor for a son to take care of his mother.
Oh,
And she said, is it really? And I said, yeah. And then I had to
yeah.
go through, again, thinking on my feet, of certain times in my life where she backed me up and never gave
Yeah.
up on me. And
Yeah.
finally got her to go, okay. And then she smiled and then
Yeah.
gave her a kiss and it was good night. But that really got me thinking about, I guess, reflecting on myself. Why am I doing this? And
Yeah.
that really came out because I didn't think that deeply about it because I had work to do
Yeah.
until I think I was writing the book. So it was a lot of discoveries while writing the book, and I feel that. Well, I'll tell you this one came way after the book was published. It was out. So a very powerful revelation. So the story seems like I went back and I saved my mom, rescued her, and in a way I did.
Mm,
I didn't think it was that big of a deal. It was the right thing to do, and I did it. And again, I got a lot out of it as well.
yeah.
But upon reflection, I look at that and I go, maybe mom was rescuing me
Yeah. I mean, it's a
because,
two-way street.
yeah, because
It's a
at
two-way
that point,
street.
I did a lot of good things, I think, in my life, but nothing super special, nothing
Yeah.
really meaningful because, again, I had no children, I didn't have a wife. And this gave me an opportunity to do something really meaningful. And my
Yeah.
mother, whether she was consciously give me this opportunity or not, it was there, and I was smart enough to take it and
Oh,
run with it.
absolutely. Yeah,
So
it really does. It brings you this type of gratitude that you never realize. You know what I mean? I mean, because like I mean, I'm a mother. My son is 3 and 2, and I have a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old. And sometimes some of the things I do for them, I'm just like, oh my goodness, I couldn't imagine somebody doing this. But then it's like, as a mother, you don't really think twice of it because it's like you're my
right.
child. I love you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. And if God forbid anything happens where my mom may need me, I know that I will be there for her too. Because if I was willing to take care of strangers that I didn't know and I still love them and respect them and show them, the grace that they still needed at their age, then I could do this for my own mother too. So I agree. I think it's something that when you know you're able to do it with pride. You know what I mean? Do it with honor. You know what I mean? Do it with nothing holding back and just try to make the best of it. And if you know that you can't do it, just be honest. You know what I mean? Just be
Yeah.
honest with it, because if not, you're gonna be fighting the whole entire time, resisting the whole entire time, and it's gonna be miserable and kind of abusive or neglective at a time, and it's not necessary. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's really valid points that people, all children, need to think about when it comes to if they're thinking about crossing that road and having to take care of their parent. You know what I mean? They really have to sit with that and really contemplate with that. But it sucks to know that time is catching up to us. But what can be some lasting words that you can leave us off with to keep on thinking?
Well, I'd say again, my motto is I've had a pretty adventurous life. I moved to France without knowing very much French, and I haven't looked back. It's been absolutely fabulous because my motto is find the joy. So no matter what adventure I go on and or businesses, I make a joke in the book. I started 5 nonprofit businesses, but none of them were intended to be nonprofit. But I took what I learned from each, let's say, failure, and took it to the next, and worked harder, and hopefully corrected any kind of mistakes to make the next one a little more successful or a little less of a failure. So if you focus on finding the joy, it helps because any major endeavor, it's very stressful in many ways. And so if you can say, I'm going to focus on the positive of this, even when the ceiling's caving in and all this other stuff, there's something good in
Yeah.
there. There's a silver lining. Focus on
Yeah.
that, and it makes so much everything else kind of melt away.
Oh,
And then when you
absolutely.
do that, when those really stressful times hit us, and then you see your mother smile or pucker up for a kiss or squeeze your
Yeah.
hand,
Yeah.
it makes it all worthwhile. So those little moments are really help. Um, uh, yeah. So they
Oh.
help support that you're doing the right thing.
Oh, absolutely. It's a beautiful thing. And it's like a beautiful thing that now you have, you know what I mean, to carry with yourself for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? You have these memories, you have these stories that now, like, you remember your mom from very young to very old, and no matter how old or how young you or she was still your mother. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that right there is joy within itself, that you can say that you did have a mother and you have these good memories. Like, no one can take that away from you. You know what I mean? No one can take that away from you. Out of everything in the world, somebody can take. They can take your house, they can take your cars, they can take all the money in the bank, but they cannot take away those memories and those feelings, because those are so genuine and so real. So, oh, I truly appreciate the fact that you wrote this book and you're sharing this light to the rest of the world so that people can truly think about this. And ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this conversation, because how could you not with this conversation being so good that it is, please go check out Mark. I have his website in the description. If you're listening audio, if you're on YouTube, go in the description, click on it, and goes directly to his website. He has such great content, so access to his book, just so that you can continue on thinking. Because isn't that the point, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, it is. Continue on thinking, y'all. Bye.